Prime Minister, Chairman of the Presidential Court, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests and dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, may the peace and mercy of Allah be upon you. Welcome to the 5th edition of Make It in the Emirates. We gather today following an experience that has tested our region and whose repercussions have been felt around the world. It was an experience that the UAE faced in the way it faces all challenges, with unwavering determination, national unity, and a clear sense of purpose. History remembers the challenges nations face, but it also remembers how nations respond to them and what they build next. There is a great difference between those who focus only on surviving crises and those who seize them as opportunities and turn them into new beginnings. In the UAE, we do not simply endure hardships. We emerge from these crises and experiences stronger. We stood firm in the face of attacks. We emerged with a stronger vision to our future path and a greater confidence in our goals and position, and a deeper understanding of our partnerships and a trademark Emirati model that has proven its success and proven that everyone who lives in the UAE is an Emirati. We showed the world through actions, not through words, who the UAE is and how it builds and how it stands firm. The UAE emerged from this experience with invaluable lessons and enduring truths. The truth that our infrastructure is resilient and unshakable. The truth that our trusted partnerships, the honest partnerships, are steadfast. And the truth that our principles, built on reliability, credibility, resilience, are not just slogans. They are foundations that we can depend on. There are nations that are shaken by crises, and there are nations that use crises to learn and to adapt and advance. This experience did not change who we are. It actually highlighted our determination and our steadfastness. This is the UAE, steadfast in its principles, bold in its actions, and clear in its direction. And we thank God that we remained resilient and resolute through the guidance and vision and leadership of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of the United Arab Emirates. May God protect him. And through the unity and solidarity of our society, citizens and residents who stood side by side behind the leadership and the UAE. As a proud son of this nation, I want to express my sincere appreciation of the extraordinary efforts of our armed forces, who are celebrating their 50th anniversary of their unification, as well as our civil defense teams and frontline heroes and all institutions who stood with us. Ladies and gentlemen, the strength of nations is measured by what they produce and how they perform. Those who manufacture own their decisions, and those who build own their future, and those who combine both secure their security and sovereignty. Therefore, we do not see industry as a choice, but as a sovereign necessity, because it provides us with resilience and the ability to adapt and protects our economy from the volatility of global markets and strengthens our capacity to endure and remain steadfast when we are tested. Distinguished colleagues, the lessons before us are clear. When a vital artery such as the Strait of Hormuz is closed, it does not only affect the region, as it shakes the entire global economy. Supplies stop and costs rise, and the global inflation rises and production chains are disrupted. Pressure increases on economies everywhere, especially the least developed nations. This reinforces our position in this regard. This strait cannot be held hostage and used for economic blackmail. The freedom of international navigation is non-negotiable and cannot be compromised. The legal status of the Strait of Hormuz cannot be changed as an international waterway, and any change to these principles would constitute a dangerous and unacceptable precedent and a direct threat to the global economic security. Distinguished colleagues, the UAE is entering a new chapter, a chapter in which we are reshaping our place in the global economy with confidence, clarity, maturity, and ambition. The UAE's sovereign decision to reposition itself within the global energy landscape and to exit OPEC and OPEC Plus is not a decision directed against anyone. It is a carefully considered strategic decision that reflects our confidence in our capabilities and our ambition for a more diversified economy and our aspirations for a better future. This decision serves our national interests and long-term strategic objectives and aligns with our industrial, economic, and developmental ambitions and gives us greater ability to accelerate investment, expand, and create value. Because strength is not measured by the abundance of resources, but by how they are harnessed in order to create value and serve the nation. And we reiterate clearly that the United Arab Emirates will remain a trusted and responsible partner in the global energy markets as we continue to support their stability from a position of greater flexibility. This move was not done in isolation. It was part of a broader effort in order to reshape our economy and industrial base through a vision that connects energy, technology, and industry, also aligning our resources with national priorities to build a stronger and more resilient economy. Under the directives of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President, Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai, may God protect him, and with the continuous oversight and support of His Highness Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and Vice President, Deputy Prime Minister and Chairman of the Presidential Court, the national industrial strategy has achieved clear objectives. We have grown the industrial sector's national contribution to 200 billion dirhams, which represents a 70% growth. Our industrial exports Our industrial exports reached $262 billion, including 92 billion dirhams in advanced industrial exports. These figures are not merely growth. They are proof that our industrial economic model in the United Arab Emirates works, produces, and continues to accelerate. And through our national in-country value program, we have turned our spending into investment in our economy and investment in our country, in our factories, our talent, and in our future. Today, with the direction and support of our leadership and with the endorsement of the cabinet, the value of industrial procurement opportunities will be increased from 168 billion dirhams to 180 billion dirhams over the next 10 years. Along with the localization of more than 5,000 new products across strategic sectors that strengthen our economic, food and healthcare security, helping to ensure the continuity of our vital sectors. At the same time, and in line with the government's direction to deploy AI agents and advanced AI models across services and operations, we have embarked on an unprecedented comprehensive technological and digital transformation. AI will no longer be just a tool in our factories. It will become an industrial brain and a partner in decision-making, redefining efficiency, productivity, and the decision-making process. Ladies and gentlemen, the economies of the future will be built on three foundations: energy that powers, technology that thinks, and industry that produces. And today, the United Arab Emirates brings these pillars together within one integrated ecosystem, reinforcing its position as a leading destination for investment and growth. My message to investors and manufacturers is this: the United Arab Emirates provides you with a global platform for growth and a business environment built on credibility and trust, flexible regulations and disciplined governance, world-class financial services, and best-in-class infrastructure and logistics, connecting the UAE to global markets as well as real opportunities to expand and to scale. In the UAE, ideas are transformed into industries and investment is transformed into value. And through the support of His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Chairman of the Abu Dhabi Executive Council, and in an effort to advance national production and in preparation for Make It in the Emirates, yesterday we hosted the Make It with ADNOC Forum, where we showcased projects planned over the next 2 years with a combined value exceeding 200 billion dirhams. We also announced the Local Plus initiative, which connects contractors in the engineering, procurement, construction, and services sectors with 70 Emirati manufacturers. The initiative requires contractors to prioritize the procurement of products manufactured in the UAE, strengthening the role of national industry across ADNOC's projects and supply chains. To our private industrial sector, our chambers of commerce and industry, and our sovereign wealth funds, I say, this phase requires serious and bold decisions. Investing at home, direct domestic investment is no longer an option, it is a priority. Because it is an investment in our stability, our economic sovereignty, and the future of generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, the formula for success in the future is clear. those who successfully combine energy, artificial intelligence, and industry will strengthen their ability to grow and compete globally. And that ecosystem is already taking shape here in the United Arab Emirates. We do not wait for transformation, we drive it. We do not simply adapt to the future, but we help shape it. From the United Arab Emirates, opportunities begin, and from the UAE, industries launch to the world. Build with us, invest with us, and make it in the Emirates. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency, for this address that explains the formula because we manufacture to own our decision and build our future. Ladies and gentlemen, here we provide examples of how a vision is transformed into achievement and how industry is transformed into a decision and how investment is transformed into value. Projects that decided to make it in the Emirates, they are not just aspirations, it's a reality, starting from space where our industry exceeds the boundaries of Earth. We have the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center and Mohammed bin Zayed Sat Project Manager.
ومن الفضاء إلى الصناعات
From space to advanced industries, we welcome Farid Al-Jawhari, CEO of Micropolis Robotics. Industries that transform economies and reshape lives. I would like to welcome Professor Habiba Al-Saffar, co-founder of Baynuna Genetic Solutions. What's happening today is not only a gradual progress, it is a transformation in the concept of industry. Please welcome Fahmi Al-Shawa, COO of Emirates. What is built here doesn't remain here. It launches from the UAE to support the world with energy. Welcome Alfredo Sanchez, head of Technip FMC. From energy to food security, welcome Khalifa Musabbah Al-Tuneji, head of agriculture and animal resources in Sharjah and CEO of Sharjah's Iktifa. Behind these projects, there are details that make us proud. When we see Mohammed bin Zayed Sat that's built by Emirati hands, we realize that insights have become actual capabilities. Good morning. With our ambitions, we developed Mohammed bin Zayed satellite with the hands of Emirati engineers at Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center and with national industries. And today it is orbiting the Earth, being a witness on the UAE's capabilities and achievements. This satellite represents our ambition and continuous efforts in the space sector and in developing satellite technologies and pioneering the advanced space sciences. It also reflects the UAE's direction in building an advanced industrial sector based on advanced technologies in line with the national industrial strategy and reinforcing the UAE's position in the future energies and industries. Technology, when it's built in the UAE, it has a specific purpose. Mr. Farid. Micropolis Robotics in the United Arab Emirates was started in order to develop specialized robots And today we design our products in order to automate operations through various sectors and provide various infrastructure and logistics services, including oil and gas and security and defense. In line with the strategic objectives of national industry and advanced technology, we develop our products within a comprehensive ecosystem as they are innovated, designed, assembled, and manufactured and operated completely in the UAE. Last year, Micropolis Robotics has become the first of its category to be listed in New York Stock Exchange successfully, and we will continue to manufacture from the UAE to the world. When we understand the human genome, so we can reshape the future of healthcare. What do you say? Bainuna Genetic Solutions is the first UAE specialized company for genetic codes to be used in healthcare, agriculture, and the safety and biotechnological sectors. This enables researchers and doctors to achieve quick diagnosis and supports directly the precision medicine ecosystem in the UAE while improving the efficiency of tests and diagnosis. Supported by the ICV program, what used to take 6 to 8 weeks is now achieved in less than 24 hours within the United Arab Emirates. This is a great national achievement and a real step towards localizing strategic and vital technologies and services. This is not an achievement by a company, it's an achievement by a country that creates its own future. Not about resources, but also intelligence, Mr. Fahmy. We are proud that Eminsa, which was founded and launched in the UAE, works to transform supply chains from the traditional models that requires the import of spare parts into a local manufacturing upon demand. By working with ambitious leadership in ADNOC and other Emirati companies and supported by the ICV program, which is managed by the Ministry of Industry and Advanced Technology, we have created a trusted company, trusted by ExxonMobil and Shell and other global enterprises. Our solutions are being today used by these companies around the world, from the US to Singapore and Norway. What Eminsa does is effective localization of manufacturing. It's not just advanced manufacturing. It is a reshaping of supply chains from the UAE to the world. Partnerships expand trust and ensure their sustainability.
Abu Dhabi to be our global surface technologies headquarters. We chose to build for the long term. Today, advanced manufacture of wellheads here in the UAE serve energy operations across 5 continents. With ADNOC and the UAE industrial ecosystems, we have converted local capabilities to a scale at global reach.
And because food security is a key pillar in sovereignty, industrial sovereignty, we talk about products that are being manufactured in the UAE to ensure sustainable food security. Dr. Khalifa Al-Tuneji. Leaders of the Sharjah animal and agricultural production has led an inspiring model that combines authenticity and innovation in the United Arab Emirates. Within less than 2 years since its founding, Mleha Dairy Farm is proud to be the first organic dairy farm that's comprehensive and integrated in the Middle East. It's also proud of receiving a Guinness World Record as the largest A2 cow farm in the world, as it comprises 6,495 heads. Mleha Dairy Farm is one of the most advanced farms in the region, with a capacity of 700,000 liters of organic dairy daily. This is evidence of the robust example of manufacturing and leadership in the United Arab Emirates. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for these words that summarize long times of work and achievement.
So from exploring space to advanced industries connected with technology to natural sciences and basic products and system of energy and food security. Ladies and gentlemen, and this is how we build future. Your Highness Sheikh Mansour, Your Highnesses, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for honoring us at this opening ceremony. The idea is clear. UAE is resilient with its decision and implementation, a nation that does not wait for the future but build it with steadfastness. Make it in the Emirates. Thank you very much.
Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. وحياكم في دار الطبي. I'm Roda Al-Sayed, and it's my honor to be your MC for the day. Welcome to the 5th and largest edition of Make It in the Emirates, the UAE's national industrial platform, hosted by the Ministry of Industry and Advanced Technology. Make It in the Emirates reflects a clear national priority to build resilience through industry. And today, from the heart of Abu Dhabi, we celebrate a nation that continues to prove that what is made in the Emirates is made for the world. In the spirit of celebrating, we now come to a moment of recognition. The Make It in the Emirates Award, which showcases the strength, ambition, and progress of the UAE's industrial ecosystem. Make It in the Emirates Awards is the sound of a country that believed in its people before the world saw what they could build. It is the story of a land that turned sand into cities, the sea into a gateway, factories into possibilities, and ambition into a promise kept. Today, we celebrate that promise. The winners were selected through a comprehensive selection process that was conducted through our senior jury members. Allow me a moment before we start announcing the winners to thank the members of our jury who have given us their time. Ladies and gentlemen, we now announce our awardees. In the Tech Frontier Award, Large Enterprise, the award goes to Halcom Systems. Tech Frontier Award, SME, the award goes to Immensa. National Industrial Growth Award, Large Enterprise, goes to Buruj PLC. National Industrial Growth Award, SME, goes to Global Pharma. Quality and Compliance Award, Large Enterprise, goes to Steel. Quality and Compliance Award, SME, goes to Reem Middle East. Inspirational Industrial Leader Award goes to Dr. Bakhit Al-Kathiri. Next Generation Industrial Leader Award goes to Abdullah Bouabeid. We now come to a category that is very dear to our hearts, the UAE Traditional Craft Award in the individual division. When we speak of what is made in the Emirates first, we think of our ancestors, artisans, and their crafts. Emirati craft built our homes, shaped our boats, and much more. It was more than just a craft. It was a way of living. And that is why, in this category, the ministry decided that everyone is a winner. The winners by name are Ummi Atija Al-Mhairbi, Saeed Al-Shahi, and Fatima Al-Mansouri. Last but not least, in the UAE Traditional Craft Awards Enterprise Division goes to Asjal Studio. I now would like to invite all our winners to please join us on the stage. Let's give them another round of applause. we call His Excellency Sheikh Salim bin Khalid Al Qasmi, Minister of Culture, and our distinguished jury members to join us for a group photo with our awardees. Let's hear it once again for the winners. Thank you, Your Highness and Your Excellencies. مبروك ألف مبروك. We now bring together leaders shaping industries that define our future. Please join me in welcoming the moderator of our next panel to the stage. Let's all join in welcoming Hadley Gamble, joined with our distinguished line of panelists, His Excellency Suhail Mohammed Al Mazroui, Minister of Energy and Infrastructure, His Excellency Dr. Thani bin Ahmed Zayudi, Minister of Foreign Trade, His Excellency Faisal Al Bannai, Advisor to the UAE President for Strategic Research and Advanced Technology Affairs and Chairman of Edge Group. Hadley, the stage is yours.
Once again, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Hadley Gamble. I am the Chief International Anchor for IMI, and it is a thrill for me to be joining these gentlemen here today. Your Excellency, I want to kick off with you. UAE, 60 years, a member of OPEC, that ended just a few days ago. How are you feeling?
When you say the speakers,
Well,
is it freedom?
well, Hadley, again, this is a sovereign decision that was taken after a very careful look at our whole strategies, including made it in the Emirates. So what does this decision do to the materials that our industries need here in the UAE? We will have a sense of freedom to produce what we require without joining any group, and that will give us a sense of planning, a sense of decision making when it comes to prioritizing our products that goes to the different industries. And as you know, ADNOC and its group of companies have been instrumental in enabling the industrial sector through the world-class products throughout the value chain of oil and gas that has been instrumental in getting us to where we are today. The future is going to be more prosperous for us. We look forward to grow our industrial base to become something that the whole world will need more. And having that flexibility is going to enable us and strengthen the made it in the Emirates.
U.S. President Donald Trump has said that this is a good decision by the UAE, but we haven't heard anything officially from OPEC nor from Saudi Arabia. And those of us who follow energy markets might find that a bit surprising. Is this the calm before the storm?
No, I think this is not the first time that a member country exit the group. It happened before, and the group has been relatively calm about it. Everyone realized that this is a sovereign decision. Everyone realized that UAE will be, as well, and as we said, a responsible producer. We're not new to this market. We understand it. We will always be acting responsibly, and we will be, as an individual producer, hopefully an enabler for growth. Hopefully, we will contribute as well to the world stability between supply and demand. And I'm confident that we will be working with so many nations, including the members of OPEC and OPEC Plus, but bilaterally rather than as part of a group.
So you left on good terms.
Sorry?
So you left on good terms.
We left on a good term, and as I said, we are a responsible producer, and we have investors here. We're dealing with many of the world-class industrial countries that are dependent on us, and we owe it to those partners who elected to invest in the UAE to produce what the world requires without restrictions, with collaboration, of course, with all other producers. And we will gauge our engagements based on the requirements of the market, as well as based on what we need to produce for our local industries here in the Emirates.
Tell me this, Iran isn't going away. And, as we've heard earlier this morning from Dr. Sultan, the best way to protect yourself is to plan ahead. In your mind, what is the best case scenario?
Well, the best case scenario that no one should be allowed to control the Strait of Hormuz, period. That is the best case scenario. And we're hoping that the whole world will realize the impact of that a one single country or one single group of, I don't want to call them names, but that group definitely is not structured, nor looking at the future of the world, nor looking at the impact to the poor people in all over the world who are dependent on these commodities. The shock in the market is something that is impacting the poor nations. The shock in the energy is impacting the consumers. And it's not just something that is impacting the Gulf states or us in the UAE. So that's the best case scenario. No one should be allowed to control the Strait of Hormuz.
And finally, do you still have confidence that Donald Trump will be able to solve this issue?
We have a great relationship with the United States, with President Trump. I think the United States and many other countries are trying to ensure that the control of the Strait of Hormuz is kept outside the hands of this group that has been terrorizing civilians all over the Gulf states and other nations as well.
Your Excellency Benani, I want to ask you specifically about the defense case for the UAE. In your mind, is the UAE prepared to defend itself?
It's not. Well, I think UAE have defended itself. We're so proud, not only us as nationals, but everyone who lived among us. Everyone who lived here in this country, practicing their usual, going to restaurants, going to cinemas, going to work, have seen the capabilities of our heroes at the armed forces. We did defend ourselves. And UAE has a history, even before the formation of the country, of defending itself. We're tough when it comes to defending our families and whoever lives with us. So I have no doubt of our capabilities, but those capabilities, with Made It in the Emirates, will go to the next level. We need to go to the next level.
Speaking of going to the next level, talking about the defense capability, in terms of what's designed and produced here at home, in your mind, how quickly are we going to see a ramp up in production?
I think it's interesting. When Edge was created around 6.5 years ago, there were some doubters outside that felt Yeah, maybe this is just a cosmetic activity. We will continue to buy everything from outside. The real defense capabilities will come from outside, and local capabilities will be just an accessory on the side. I think I'm proudly saying that during the last war, like no other time, the local defense industrial capability truly proved its worth during this war. A critical part of the defense of the UAE was defended using UAE national products produced in the UAE, developed in the UAE, and they played a pivotal part in the defense of the entire network here of the UAE. So this is a clear demonstration that we are able to develop, we're able to produce, and we're able to show its worth during the time that matters. And I think with the current war, whatever work we were doing before is going to be 100x in the coming period in terms of accelerating further our capability, accelerating further what we do. And I think no one likes war, but I think it was a great example of showing what truly the local capabilities are during this war.
Tell me about that in terms of the numbers, in terms of that production and that capability. What specific areas?
So let's use a relevant example that we all understand. UAE was targeted with missiles and drones, and a large quantity of drones. 1,000 plus drones came to the country, way more than anyone else. 85% of these drones were tackled through the jammers developed and produced in the UAE. So this is a significant number of the attack that came in the UAE were neutralized using UAE technology. This is one example among many. Other examples of what we were able to do, yes, we had products that we produced before the war that truly show. It's one thing for these products to be tried outside. It's another thing for these products to be used in defending the nation. It has a different lens to it. Other products were also used in various areas, including products that did not exist. And I think this is an interesting area. Before the war, day zero, certain products did not exist. Day 30, these products entered operation. Normally, these products would have taken us 2 years of development. They took 15 days of development and another 15 days to be used operationally. This shows that you now have true local national capabilities. It's not just a matter of, okay, we'll develop some things, but true national capabilities. Internally, we were surprised. So my team knew that after this war, whatever 2-year development programs are on the table for other things are scratched. Now the deadline is a 2-week deadline for a 2-year program.
Tell me, though, in terms of the numbers specifically, how quickly do you want to get that breakdown to increase? And I'm talking about, are we going to see a scenario in which 80% of the weapons used to defend the UAE are made right here in the UAE?
I think if you break the products to a number of categories, there is air defense capabilities, there is the general Air Force capabilities, the planes, and then there is the rest of the ecosystem, whether it's ships, whether it's guns, whether it's other ammunitions. I think today, as a player, we take a very reasonable share, except from fighters. We don't develop fighters yet. I think at the same time, when it comes to air defense, the soft kill air defense, the jammers that came in play, we are now fully self-sufficient as a country in that category. When it comes to the air defense area, between this year and next year, we'll start eating part of the missile air defense will become local UAE air defense. And I think over the next few years, we definitely have a determination that anything to do with air defense will be fully a UAE capability in that regard, produced in the UAE. So I don't think it's anymore whether it's if, I don't think it's anymore whether it's will. I think it's very clear what was done in the last few years, and whatever was done is now going to be 100x to grow and grow our capabilities.
I know you were recently in the United States. You were meeting with various companies. I know you met with Elon Musk. any insight in terms of the partnerships that you're working on?
I would say stay tuned for a few interesting announcements. But let's give a small antidote in terms of where we are as a capability. It's one thing when you're developing something in the country and you're consumed locally because there is support to consume the local product. And that happens in every country. And people might say, well, if you're a local player and you're consumed locally, maybe there is some favoritism just to use your product instead of international. Although in defense, it doesn't really work that way, but let's take that for an argument. 6 years ago, when Edge was created, the companies that came together, the annual international booked orders for Edge was 2%, 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago to be more accurate. 3 years ago was 25%. 2 years ago was 50%. Last year was 70%. It means the product developed in the UAE in an annual booked orders that we have, last year 70% was international orders. So this tells you where we sit today from a capability point of view and how determined are we to really excel in that domain and really defend the nation and become a key player in the global advanced tech space and defense.
So we've heard energy security, we've heard defense capability, and I now want to talk about putting all of that money to work. And we talk about the foreign trade profile. In your mind, how is that going to evolve post-Iran war?
Well, first of all, we had an excellent growth in the last few years, and last year we outperformed as well. Although we had 12 days of attack last year during the summer, which did not disturb the overall growth that we had. Last year, we exceeded $1 trillion with a growth of around 27%. The majority went toward the majority of the growth went toward the exports, and the exports to the countries which we signed CPAs with exceeded the expectations with the massive growth. The first quarter of this year was as well continuation of this outperforming performance. We had an excellent growth as well. Even with the whole disturbance, everyone thought that we're going to go to the minus. But we ended up the first quarter with a growth much higher than the growth last year, which shows a very positive signal that we're going to continue regardless what's going to happen, and the resilience and the agility of the systems and the different policies that we have developed throughout the last few decades is paying off through the foreign trade numbers. Now, trade is not about only the numbers. It's about supply chain. It's about industry. It's about ensuring the availability of commodities with the reasonable prices in the country. And this is a very long story and very long journey which we have taken the last 3 decades in terms of the investments in our air cargo, investments in the transportation when it comes to ports, infrastructure, and the connectivities from those ports to the UAE and vice versa from the UAE to the rest of the world. And as well the investments in the logistical railways and the roads and bridges, which managed to reduce the consequences of the supply chain disturbance because of the attack against us. Now, in terms of the numbers, we're connected to more than 250 ports around the world. We're owning more than 330 vessels by our operators, and that makes us much more agile to maneuver around the challenges that is facing the globe now. When it comes to as well the agilities, we managed to shift many operations from the Arabian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman, especially in Fujairah and Khorfakan, and they managed to move in many of the commodities. And guess what? As well, the airlines played a major role in reducing the consequences. The growth in some of the airlines were in above 30% in some of the cases, which means that we managed to shift and do that shift easily because of the readiness, as well as the taking different scenarios in daily operation, so to reduce the consequences of such incidents that we have.
And global financial institutions are curious to know whether or not we're going to see sovereign wealth funds redirecting, if you will, some of those funds back into the UAE. Do you anticipate that will happen?
Well, it's already happening, and it's a very long strategy policy that we have. We invest abroad, we build up the technology, we build up the know-how, and bring it to the country. We have done it, and we have done it as well in the defense. Edge is one of the models, bringing those international partnerships to the country to build up certain sectors within the country. Now, moving forward, for sure, we're going to continue our international investments, but also we're going to have a huge investments internally, regardless it's going to be through the sovereign wealth funds or directly by the investment by the governments. But the infrastructure, the strategic projects, development projects are going to be a key priority for the country moving forward, and many of projects will be announced very soon, just to make sure that we're continuing the momentum and we're not going to be as well dependent in any countries.
Do you anticipate we're going to see stimulus packages?
What is that?
Stimulus packages.
We started with that, but the upcoming projects is going to be direct investments by the governments, different entities, regardless of federal or local, and that's going to as well boost the internal domestic public-private partnership.
There were conversations obviously being had between the UAE and the United States about US dollar swaps. That was characterized by many in the media as a bailout. In your mind, how would you describe that? And also, if you would just kind of walk us through where you are in that conversation.
Well, we had this discussion and conversation with many. It's part of an elite group that the US is having this swap policy with. They're having only with 5 countries: Canada, Europe, UK, Switzerland, and Japan. And being part of that means the transactions and the instant trade investments between both nations reach a level where that swap is highly needed to just make sure that we capture the second in our transaction. So it's an elite matter. It's not about bailing out any of the talks that we're seeing or hearing in the social media.
And you've secured this line with the United States.
Discussion.
Under discussion. Your Excellency, just to sort of walk us through this, what are your kind of biggest fears on the horizon? Is it the supply and demand question? Is it the idea that post-conflict we're going to see a price war? Where do you think that we're headed?
No, I don't think. I think the biggest concern today is one, the security and of ships moving freely throughout all of those restricted straits all over the world. Everywhere it's given, except for the Strait of Hormuz, except of what Iran is trying to do. So that's a risk. Now that risk, since it happened, it had drawn the reserve or the strategic reserve inventories down. And that is the second concern. That needs refill. So in addition to bringing back enough production to the world, someone needs to produce to fill up those strategic reserves. But if we are not ensuring that this is not happening again, then that risk is there, and countries will start piling up their level of inventories to another level. And I don't know. We all remember when the United States strategic reserve levels were way higher, maybe double of what we have today. Is that going to change? We will see. That's why it's so important for countries like the United States, all of us here in the Gulf, that this strait is kept open without possibility that Iran is coming or the Revolutionary Guard coming and blocking it again after time. It needs to be settled. Those two will demand more production, so the world will need more energy, period. There has been a growth on demand. Now you add to it the inventory story, you need more. From where that additional volume is going to come? We will need more production. When? Those who are responsible producers, they will gauge. They will not flood the market. They will produce wisely to ensure that we are taking care of those two things. One is the daily requirements of the demand. Second is enough is attributed to filling up those strategic reserves worldwide.
And within that narrative, U.S. energy dominance, In your mind, you say responsible producers. Is the United States a responsible producer?
Well, every country hardly have their own strategy when it comes to fulfilling their production, their demand from their local production. And I think that's the story for the United States shale oil producers. When the United States consumes that much, and only before the shale oil, it was only 40%, 30%, 40% of that is supplied locally, then you have an issue. I think the shale oil production has been a revolution that the whole world benefited from because it balanced the supply of the United States. It gives them energy security. It gives them dominance when it comes to supplying their requirements. And that's a right for every country. We're doing it. Many countries are doing it for their economy. Now, what is the future? If this is a finite resources. It will, with time, it will go down. So you have to produce it wisely, and you have to produce it when you have it. And we are complementing each other in this term, because the whole world needs the economy of the United States to be strong. Many are benefiting from that economy, and we are a major investor there. So that economy supplied by that amount of crude have helped many countries.
Your Excellencies, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my great pleasure now to ask my next guest to join me on stage, His Excellency Ahmed bin Abdullah Belul Al Falasi. Great to see you, sir.
Excuse me. If you shift this, yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
You heard us briefly just discussing the idea of potential stimulus packages.
Yes.
For all of the enthusiasm that we're hearing from ministers here today and industrial and capitalist, and as well as people who are manufacturing, there is still a lot of fear out there in the market about what this means for entrepreneurs and what this means for non-oil growth. In your mind, does this government need to get out there in front of this and inject some money into the economy?
I think we should, and we already did that. We announced a 1 billion fund through the Ministry of Industry, but also we have the Emirates Growth Fund, which is specifically targeting a highly volatile segment, which is SMEs. SMEs, by nature, are far more exposed to the volatility of the market. And therefore, our approach is to provide patient capital. And over the past month, during the midst of the aggression, we announced an investment. Whereas capital markets were drying up because of the what's happening around and the ambiguity, we intentionally made that investment. And that went a long way. That sent a message to local SMEs that the government is here to support you. If your economics work, we know that we're here for you over the longer term. And we also play an active role as well. So we intentionally take a non-controlling stake, so anywhere from 20 to 49%. However, we mandate as an executive board seat at the company, where we help them, first of all, build the governance, so move from being entrepreneurial-driven to institutional. We also bring expertise, global expertise, to give them operational depth, and also open up markets for them, giving our connections. So to your point, yes, I think more than ever now, investments by government is important, but the right type of investment. The growth capital that's willing to take risk and willing to add value beyond equity. Equity will always be available in the UAE. I believe the last report I've seen is with VC capital, the UAE alone gets over 50% of all the MENA region. So it's plenty of capital. The question is the right type of capital that's able to support these SMEs during any kind of risks, and also beyond that as well to grow.
The UAE created the non-oil economy that other Gulf capitals dream of. In your mind, how much has the Iran war hurt that achievement or hurt that vision?
I think hurt is a tough one. I think it tested us. And I think the UAE has been proving its resilience, be it through the recent flooding that has happened, be it through COVID. And I think going through tough times and coming out stronger sends a very strong message to global investors and to SMEs as well. Airport never shut down. It was always operational. We've managed to secure other channels for cargo through the ports of Fujairah and Khor as well. So I think the agility and the ability of the UAE to weather every type of shock, whether it's natural disaster, warfare, or even like a global pandemic. So I think in my view, it's a blessing in disguise, and I truly believe that coming out of this, people have much more confidence in the UAE. We've heard the ministers talk about the resilience of our defense system, the resilience of our logistical system as well. So I think if I were an investor willing to invest in the region, I would not choose any other place besides the UAE.
Talk to me about the cost of doing business, because many of the folks that I've been speaking to, written into their contracts, they never had war insurance. Is that something that has to be factored in going forward? Because Iran isn't going to go away.
Well, look, I think there's always risk, right? And when you do an investment, you have a weighted cost of capital, which includes as well sovereign risk, right? I think in the short term, yes, there will be a bit of apprehension and a bigger risk assigned. However, if you come to a local entity like ours, where we're part of the system, we don't put an added risk to our investment. Whereas if you go to international investor, they would allocate a certain risk to the region, let alone the UAE. But for us, accessing local capital, you will be able to access equity or debt at a competitive rate. That, to me, is the advantage of having a government-led investment, both equity or debt, which takes into account the risk, because we know it very well. There's perceived risk and there's actual risk. So today, the perceived risk is much higher than the actual risk. And I think that combination will be there for a few years. And I think that's also an opportunity for us to be able to deploy more capital, since we know the market and we know that the futures will always be bright, and we'll be able to weather any challenge that come our way.
You mentioned the billion fund. I want to ask, in a sense, though, that's looking at, deferring costs, deferring license fees, et cetera, et cetera. It's not necessarily injecting money.
True.
So are we going to see something like that from the government?
Well, look, you have to know, before corporate tax, SMEs and companies used to only pay fees. And we always got hammered about our fees being high. And our answer was always that we don't have corporate taxes. But now, corporate taxes are kicking in, which means that by definition, if you're not profitable, you don't have to bear any additional costs. Now, having said that, still fee waiver is important. However, access to debt and equity is also on the table. So our 1 billion is still available. Our billion right now is in demand. I think following the investment that I've mentioned, we've got maybe almost 10x times the interest that's coming in. So I think offering equity investments goes a long way during this time. If you're referring to paycheck protection mechanisms, I don't think that's the right example. I was a Minister of Entrepreneurship during COVID. And I remember in the beginning, I met a lot of SMEs and they were saying, how come you're not investing a lot of direct investment and support? And I met them again 6 months later. And to my surprise, they said, you know what? We're much happier that you allowed us to continue our business. That's far more beneficial for our company than getting just enough money to stay alive. So in the UAE, we truly believe that nothing beats doing business. Nothing beats access to market. You can always offer sometimes a temporary solution, but that will only keep the company afloat. If you want it to grow, you keep your airports open, you keep your business open. I think that's the best way companies thrive.
Do you anticipate that the government is going to support local business in the sense that not just an investor, but a purchaser?
That is happening. So the whole purpose of Make Up the Emirate is exactly that. ADNOC just announced, I think, 200 billion of ICB. And we've seen many companies that came on stage, and you see them through healthcare.
So doubling down is what I meant.
That's, I think, to me, is important, because that not only helps the SMEs, but also helps us as governments. Because in the wake up of COVID and the recent aggression, we quickly realized that we are exposed internationally, and to our advantage to really offer contracts locally and localize everything from defense to healthcare to all services. So to your point earlier about questioning whether sovereign wealth funds will invest locally, in my mind, for sure, we will be localizing a lot of the supply chain. Whether it's happening through redirection or new allocation, that's a different matter. But there's a big movement today towards localizing the supply chain in the UAE.
Yeah, and it's not going to look, though, like Saudi and the PIF investing, is it? Or
look, I think the beauty of the UAE is that we have different sovereign wealth funds, right? And each one has their mandate. You have passive ones like ADIA. You have more active ones like Mubadala. You have us, we're a federal one. We're specific to brick-and-mortar SMEs. So I think they all complement each other. And within that realm, I'm sure every investment manager will look at their portfolio and reassess. We're always smart in terms of chasing the right investment, but at the same time, there's a nice structure to the landscape of sovereign wealth funds here. I don't foresee, for example, ADIA switching and then suddenly flooding money into the UAE. We have other tools. We have ADQ, we have Mubadala, we have AGF. And that to me is one of the benefits of the UAE, having these different complementary types of funds that play different roles and really try to fill any holes in the landscape. And we're one of those. We came late. We came in post-COVID when we realized some SMEs don't want to take debt, but they want to take equity. However, equity is available for tech startups, but not brick and mortar. So we filled in a gap as well. And I think that gap is getting tighter. And I think we have a really healthy landscape of equity being deployed in the UAE.
Your Excellency, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Excellency, we truly agree that we all complement each other, and that all starts in rooms like this. So every person here today is a part of us making it in the Emirates. Thank you all for being here with us. We just witnessed a reminder that resilience is not built over time alone, but sustained by leadership and the people. From that perspective, we now bring together leaders of family businesses, shaping legacies across generations. Please join me in welcoming to the stage our moderator, CEO and founder of AB Talks, Anas Bukhash. And now, please welcome our distinguished panelist, His Excellency Mohammed Al-Abbar, founder and MD of I'mar Properties. His Excellency Abdulaziz Al-Ghareer, chairman of Abdullah Al-Ghareer Group. Mohammed Abdul Majid Siddiqui, CCO of Ahmed Siddiqui. Ghada Hussein Al-Fardan, founder and president of Ghada Al-Fardan Jewelry. Anas, I hand over to you. The stage is yours.
تفضلي. مرة فاضحيني. قالوا هذا سماج، قلت لهم نعم سماج. اوكي. ولا صوتي واضح؟
Welcome, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. Today, we will be talking about family businesses and their legacy, the style of work, and there are questions that are for everyone and others that will be directed to a certain person. Feel free to discuss. Talking about your sectors, banks, jewelry, properties, etc. What did this crisis teach you in one sentence? I want each of you to tell me this recent crisis, what have your companies learned in one sentence. Crises are a truth, whether the World War I, II, the Gulf Wars, COVID pandemic, and September 11th, or even the Ukrainian war. We are all impacted by everything that happens in the world, and unfortunately, we've been witnessing a lot of crises, and global companies need to be ready for that. What happened recently was not expected, and our country showed its steadfastness and the resilience of its planning under the directives of our leadership. So we managed to successfully survive. You cannot plan for a crisis. You can plan for a certain crisis, but something different could happen. In the food sector where we work, there was the Russian-Ukrainian war. 70% of our supplies came from Ukraine, and this disrupted our supplies. We used to import 8 million tons of wheat, which is 4 times the consumption of UAE. We never planned for this. We never planned for Jabal Ali to shut down. But however, companies are required to have the capability and resilience in decision making when there is a different crisis. You cannot plan for every crisis. Therefore, resilience and fast decision making are very important when there is a crisis. I believe crises are like COVID are always an opportunity for everyone to take a step back and think about the future. It's a time for reconstruction and restructuring. It's a quiet stage, usually a time that could lead to depression. Some people might think why there is insufficient liquidity, insufficient business, but I believe it's time for planning future projects because there is no business rush in that time, and you have time to reflect on what is your next step. This happened to me during the COVID pandemic. It was my best era. And right now we are also at home. I started a new project. So I always look at that as a new opportunity for new beginnings. Being a family business in the retail sector, our focus has always been on our consumers and customers. And the crisis from the COVID pandemic and the recent crisis, our focus has always been on the local market, the citizens and the residents of the United Arab Emirates. We focused on trainings and on developing our services at our retail shops. And our first step as a family, we went to the shops and sat down with the employees so that they would feel at ease. Some of them were anxious and worried. We haven't shut down any store, not even the office, during the crisis. Of course, thanks to the support of our leadership. People would come to us and tell us that this country is still safer than many countries in Europe, despite the crisis and everything that we witnessed during that time. So thankfully, the government and the leadership did not save any effort. We went to various malls. We visited all our stores and sat down with the employees and talked to them, as well as the customers, if they wanted to talk and discuss the situation. And in such cases, we always have to emerge stronger. This happens by training the employees, strengthening the relationship with our family. The customers are our family, and we have to always work on this relationship. During COVID pandemic, we never fired any employee and never shut down any store, and the same happened this time. We talked before this session about the difference between family businesses and other businesses. In your opinion, what's the difference in general, and what's the difference during crises? I believe family businesses employ almost 80% of the workforce in the UAE. Our share is 60% of the GDP. So family businesses play a great role in the economy. Even the founders of some semi-government corporations were from the private sector. Everyone plays a role, and what distinguishes the private sector is the resilience and the fast decision-making process and the agility. So when a crisis occurs, there is a decision maker that can take a decision quickly, while other government institutions have their governance structure and their channels. I don't blame them, because this is how they operate, and they have to take the decisions that way. But this means the loss of the opportunity, because some consumers require the goods to be purchased immediately. The private sector can sense opportunities. When there's a crisis, there are always opportunities, even in crises, that can benefit from. They can provide something that they didn't think about in the past. Did you feel during this past period something has changed about decision-making regarding the expansion or investment decisions? In the property sector, there was a hard lesson for everyone. We had some hard lessons during a COVID pandemic as well as other crises. But what I'm noticing is that when you learn from 2008 and from COVID, and as Boussaoud said, you have to build an agile and resilient business that can handle these circumstances. So thankfully, with the recent events, it was the first time we felt the strength of our corporation. We were comfortable handling the situation. A lot of people ask about how I'm doing and how is my business doing, but everyone is telling them that I'm living my life normally. It's because I'm looking at things naturally, because I'm sure a lot of you have learned from the past crises, and what happened recently proves that we can handle any crisis. In the first week, we sent emails to everyone, all employees. We told them we are not laying off any one of the workforce. We are not cutting their salaries, etc. Because everyone learned lessons from the previous crises, and respectfully to everyone, whether in the government or family businesses, we know the human nature. We care about our reputation among the society in front of our leadership, and it's important for us to always be up to this, or to live up to these names and the name of our country. So when we see that our companies are robust and managed to survive during the recent events, this teaches us that we have to always ensure that our businesses are robust and strong and agile. We have to always keep up with the new updates. Ghada, we talked about this for a long time, but I believe it's important. Any family business specifically, how do you deal with the various generations? The first generation is the founding generation, and some say that the second generation will spend everything that the first one has collected. So there are sometimes 5 generations. How do we build the bridges? As you know, we are now in the 3rd generation, and we are facing some difficulties with this 3rd generation. Can we continue as a family business or not? There are concerns I am working with a third generation because I was part of the late second generation. So they look at me as an example. And if I manage to continue in this family business, then it means they have a future as well. The diversity of our businesses. We are a multi-business group, and we have diversified companies and work in several sectors. And this diversification gives an opportunity to this young generation to enter the business. We work in agriculture, automobiles, properties, etc. And everyone who joins this family business from the family has an opportunity to grow and expand. And there is also a different path. Al-Fardan Holding allows each of us to set up their own company, and if it was suitable to join this holding company that will continue through the family business. This allows us to test what we want to do on a large company scale. They give you the funding, they give you the support, you can implement the idea you have, and if it succeeds, then it becomes part of the family business. In the 1950s, you set up your company, and it's been a very long time. How did you manage to sustain this business? How do you ensure that everyone has an opportunity in this diversified business? My grandfather, when he set up the company, he started out of loving this business and a hobby for watches and radio. My uncle Abdul Hamid is now the chairman of the company, along with my late father and my uncle Ibrahim, who set up or founded the company in the second generation. Ahmed Siddiqui improved and expanded along with the expansion of Dubai. The first mall in the UAE was Al Ghurair Center, but we were not big enough to join a mall. We joined Wafi Mall first, and we were among the first companies that attracted celebrities to an opening. This was in 1995 or 1996 in Deira City Center, where we invited Cindy Crawford. Yeah, I don't forget this event. So we started this trend in the UAE where celebrities have become an important part of openings, and we attracted people to these events. Now this has become a normal thing. The challenge was with the third generation, and as all companies conduct studies, they see that most companies fall with the third generation, and that was our challenge as well. We didn't want this to happen. We sat down as the third generation, me, my brother, and cousins. We decided to have governance and protocol in our family business, and my late father and uncle were against that. They didn't want to pay amounts of money for something that they saw unnecessary. We were determined and worked for 5 years to set up this family governance. We are only 10 people out of this family working in the company. And it's not just that we are working because we don't have any other thing to do. We have KPIs, we have attendance. I remember my father who would talk to HR if we were late to our work to deduct from our salary. So this is not a given. We have to do something for our company, and this has led to the success of the third generation. And now we have the fourth generation with us in the company, and we have a close relationship among us, the 10, including our uncle, who's from the second generation. As Ms. Gada said, there is always a challenge with the gap among generations, but we are trying to have a dialogue between each generation. Busaudu, when we talked, he told me that sometimes we see these crises as tests and that these tests change our priorities. You told me that your priority changed from profits to a national perspective. Can you explain more about this? Silal, which is responsible for the food security in the UAE, they contacted us and wanted to know what is our capacity and capability during this crisis, because we have large factories and large storages and silos. We told them that we put everything we have under their disposal. They can work with us the way they want. And we saw that the national priorities and interests are more important than any profitable businesses. We told them they can do whatever they need. We opened our silos and storages for wheat, flour, and feed, oils, and everything that we manufacture and export. Our exports are 88,000 containers annually from Jabal Ali. We are the largest exporter by container number, and this capacity was all provided to the authorities for the national priorities and the national strategic storage was in our own silos. We have to ensure that the rotation is correct in order for these products not to go rotten. Silal and the government contacted us because some Gulf countries require wheat exports. We told them that we are ready for that. The wheat was offloaded in Fujairah. 200 trucks would transport the wheat from Fujairah to Jabal Ali. It would be loaded again on ships to go to Qatar, to Bahrain, Kuwait, and even to Dammam, because it's faster from Jabal Ali to Dammam other than the Red Sea route. So we did that in order to ensure that the UAE is a leading, helping country in the GCC.
You spoke lightly about this issue, but how to set up a business that will deal with crisis before they even start? Humans, by nature, they learn from crisis. You learn what's happening around you. Is there a policy for the organization to anchor that principle? With all respect to everyone, I started learning from 1997. I was in Singapore, and I remember the situation was very difficult. We took a loan from the bank, and then the bank said, we need our money back now. Look, he's laughing at me. No. But the commodities, they are at the store. There's no customers. So if the organization cannot learn from what is happening, and I'm sure everyone is learning, but do we have staff that can learn from this and prepare the organization? Yes, we are looking for profit, but also we are looking for growth. And in our country, our growth is accelerating. And we have what we call take the money. So we aim for growth, 50%, even 70%. But this growth, will you make sure that you have all the safeguards within the organization, safeguards with the contractor, safeguards with the customers who did not pay, and while you have other installments to pay? So I think this comprehensive ecosystem that we call positively paranoid. You are paranoid, you want to go fast, take the money from the table, but there is a process. You have to manage cost, you have to manage technology, you have to manage risks, you have to follow the market on a daily basis. And among the things that we were being held responsible for in those days, we have 40,000 customers who paid for their flats and villas while they were still under construction. Those customers, they pay installment on a monthly basis. And every month we get cash that flows into the bank. And maybe we have like 100 sites under construction, and contractors are working around the clock. In December, among the 40,000, we were getting 1,000 among the 40,000 customers. 1,000 customers would come and ask, please give me some more time, 1 month extra for payment. And in December, there was 8, and after the incident, it reached 1,200 customers. After the ceasefire, it went down to 700. So this is positive because I'm giving you these figures so that you can see how the situation is positive in our country. And you need to monitor the situation. You need to be vigilant, but don't forget to take the money. Rada, you spoke about diversity in your business, and you told me something dear to you. Particularly in this time. Tell me more about the business that you have in mind. I was thinking about this time of calmness. Everyone was asking me about Lulu. What can we do about Lulu? I have a workshop and we work on Lulu, but we have employees, and if we don't work on it, we will lose this. So, well, like I said, first of all, for any students or young Emiratis, we teach them different types of Lulu pearls and how to handle prices and waste from A to Z. And then the next step, how to deal with the pearl. And I will teach them how to work with hand on the pearl, because this craft, we don't want it to vanish, and we in the UAE, we're the only one who work in this industry. And I wonder how can this industry continue if we stop? Because every session is people ask me, tell us more about how can we buy and pearls. And I took all these steps as an initiative based on my passion for pearls, and I believe this is a passion, and we don't want to lose it, and we need to teach the next generation what is the value of pearl in our past and how to preserve it. Very good. Mohammed, we know you have stories. Maybe you can tell us about anecdotes or a funny story or inspiring story with one of the customers, if you can tell us about it. Once someone came to me and asked for a watch. I told him, you don't seem to have passion for watches. This was after the pandemic, COVID pandemics, and he told me, I am building my house and I want to get extra money to build the house. I told him, go to the bank and let them help you. Otherwise, in our line of work, we deal with different types of persons, and among the persons I met in 2004 or 2005, it was Michael Jackson, and I was at the store, and many people from the police came, and the person with them was a woman with a niqab. And the person there told me, this is not a woman, this is Michael Jackson. I went to him and he introduced himself. And I remember I took his signature, but he didn't take a photo to avoid being impacted by the flash. But I remember also Bo Ashid came to my store, and there was 5 guys had just opened, and we went and had dinner together. So this gives us opportunity to meet different people, and like I said, it's not a business relationship or customer relationship. It's a friendship and a family relationship, and in many cases there are people, ministers or sheikhs, and who come to us, and we sell luxury. We're not selling food or facility from a bank, and we sell luxury, which is not a necessity. This is when you build the relationship and the credibility between you and the customer. We said we'll be bringing you some interesting stories. And the last questions for everyone. The first question: if you can give one advice to someone who wants to start a family business, what will be your advice? Starting with you, Abu Ashid. From what I saw, and all those who have experience and knowledge and the style, I always tell people, from my own perspective, my IQ is average, but my hard work is the best. I believe in hard work. So the issue of hard work encompasses many things. You need to check your work. You need to study every opportunity and know where to take risks and bring people and monitor their work and keep pushing. So I say the harder you work, the luckier you'll get. There's a saying, hard work beats talent when talent feels to work hard. And this is why I like to hire Indians, because they answer the phone even at 1 o'clock in the morning, because how can you take the money if you keep sleeping? Abu Saud, your advice. In crisis, people can lose control, and many people think about selling the building or their shares. And I think this is one of the biggest mistakes people can make. In crisis, there are opportunities. Even beginners can seize those opportunities to invest. Many people, I asked them, how did you start your business? They said, I started during a crisis. During the crisis, I took the risk and I did this business. This is why my advice to people, please, during crisis, don't sell. Be patient, endure. If you have a factory, if you have a company, become partner with others. Tell them, ask the bank to reduce the installments. Everyone will help you because everyone has interest because they want you to come back to them again. So selling during crisis is very risky, and is impactful on humans. I concur with that. I believe during crisis, and I always work during crisis, and you need to keep moving. Real estate is cheaper. You can bargain on prices of stores. Everything is available. But there's something else for family businesses. The older generation, we take experience and expertise from them, but what can we give them back? We can give them development and technology. Something happened, something funny happened with my father. He said, when you take pictures of the pearls, you're killing its colors. So I was trying to take photo for advertisement with other girls, and I used AI in the photos. So I went into the system and took the photo, and I sent it to my father. And he said to me, finally, you managed to do a good lighting. I said to him, this is not a physical photo. I said, this is with AI. He said, you don't have this contact. I said, no, I have the contact, but I took this and I put it in AI to make it like this. He said, now you can fire all photographers. I was with him, and he took the pearls to show me difference between each type of pearls. He explained to me the story of all those types. And he said to me, those images in the Photoshop, and I put all the contacts. And it only took like 3 minutes. He said to me, your photographers, they make the pearls in yellow color, but this is the first time you get the lighting in the white color. And since we are a family business and 10 of the family members are working in it, which is not even 1% of the employees in the company, we take into consideration credibility and transparency between family members. At the beginning, we used to take, I make a decision, and my cousin will not like that. So we broke that obstacle between us, and if my cousin sees something wrong, he should talk to me, and that we need to have a dialogue, and dialogue should stay in the company and should not impact us outside the company. And we need to think about our work at the company as professional in our area of work, in our responsibility. This is very important. And also our relationship. It's not that everything will be with stubbornness and stand, not my way or the highway. There should be a reason for everything. So this is important for family businesses. Last question, we'll start from here. And every time I think about our country and how proud I feel I was born in this country, and I believe many people feel the same thing. The first thing I felt is that it saddened me that everything we were building, and I was thinking, I hope that everything stabilizes. And thanks God for our situation and our country. Last question, if everyone can summarize the UAE in one word: safety, vision. Quick adaptation, adaptability. Thank you for your attendance. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, Anas. It was not just a simple session, but lessons in life, many lessons that we took. And from those lessons, we take not only the name of the company, but we carry the name of the UAE. And the UAE is proud, and the Emirates will always be fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I want to begin not with a number, but with a sentence spoken by our founding father, the late Sheikh Zayed, may God rest his soul. He once said, they used to say that agriculture has no future in the UAE, but with God's blessing and our determination, we have succeeded in transforming this desert into a green land. Think about that. We were told our soil could not feed us. We grew gardens in the sand. We were told oil would always be our ceiling. We made it our launch pad. Today we hear it again. Supply chains fragile, trade weaponized. We've heard this song before, and we know how to answer it. I want to thank His Excellency Dr. Sultan Al Jaber. 5 years ago, Make It in the Emirates was an idea. Today, it's a movement. More than 1,000 companies, 12 strategic sectors, 88,000 square meters of national ambition. This is not an exhibition. This is a declaration. I also want to recognize His Excellency Hassan Al-Nuwais. The work behind a platform like this is not glamorous. Policy, procurement, data, intense follow through. He and his team have made this look easy. It is not, it is excellent. This year's theme is emerging stronger. And the word that everybody is using is resilience. It's in every speech, in every LinkedIn post. Resilience is not a slogan. It is a supply chain. Resilience is not a fund. It's a factory that operates 24/7 when the strait is closed. Resilience is not a feeling. It's something that you build with your own hands. There's an Arabic saying more than 1,000 years old. ما حك جلدك مثل ظفرك. No one scratches your skin like your own fingernail. The full line continues, so take care of your own affairs yourself. That is what resilience means. Sovereignty over what matters. The medicine in your hospital, the protein on your child's plate, the chip in your factory. A nation that produces what it needs cannot be held hostage to anyone else's storm. And this is why our leadership's recent announcements matter so much. The Resilience Fund, the expanded ICV, the new National Industrial Data Committee giving us real-time visibility into our industrial nervous system. This is not incremental. This is a doctrine. Our President, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, put it in 5 words. The UAE is not easy prey. We are not, we never have been, we never will be. For years, we have celebrated foreign direct investment, rightly so. $45.6 billion last year, 10th in the world. Dr. Sultan has this morning put direct domestic investment on this stage. Allow me to put a number to it. Last year, the businesses, families, and investors who have made this country home deployed more than $119 billion into our economy. More than 2.5 times our FDI real growth, 5th in the world in IMD's rankings. This story deserves to be told as loudly as the FDI story. FDI is foreign confidence. Domestic investment is national conviction. FDI is mobile. Domestic investment is rooted capital that stays through the disruption. What gets measured gets celebrated, and what's celebrated gets multiplied. Capital alone, though, does not build a resilient economy. People do, including our amazing entrepreneurs. Hub 71 in Abu Dhabi, Sharah in Sharjah, Endeavor across the Emirates, not nice to haves, the soil where our next national champions are growing. The next Emirati industrial company, the next ADNOC of advanced manufacturing, the next regional pharmaceutical leader is sitting in a co-working space right now. We must water that soil aggressively, patiently, as if the future depends on it, because it does. And one more demand on ourselves, research. Resilience without research is just inventory. The countries that win the next century will be the ones that invent the next supply chain. So we must and will aim much higher. R&D as a share of GDP, PhDs per capita, on patents filed per year. These are the metrics that help a region emerge not just stronger, but smarter. The UAE story has always been a whole of society story. Government setting direction and providing the enabling environment. Family businesses, as you've heard, more than 60% of our GDP and 80% of our workforce providing scale. Sovereign funds providing depth and patience. Philanthropy providing catalytic capital. Startups providing surprise. And our women increasingly and rightly providing leadership across every one of these. No single sector wins alone, but together they are unbeatable. So dear friends, on policy, let's elevate domestic investment, headline it, report it, make it more famous than FDI. To industry and investors, take the offtake, take the license, take the leap, be a builder and not just a backer. To our entrepreneurs, build the boring things, build the medicine, build the spare part, build the algorithm, build the food. The glamour will come. To every young person who calls this country home, Sheikh Zayed turned desert into garden. Today's leadership turned this federation into a global voice. Your generation will turn this country into the world's most resilient economy. Not because it's easy, but because it's yours. We're not just making it in the Emirates, we are making the Emirates stronger, deeper, enduring. Thank you, and God bless the United Arab Emirates.
From a desert to a garden to a global force to resilience, it is all our role to make it in the Emirates and to continue making this beautiful country into the vision that Baba Zayed once had. Please join me up next to welcome a voice that reflects not only success, but the responsibility it carries. To lead the final session in the Momentum Hall, please join me in welcoming our moderator, Mustafa Agha. Joining him is head of the Egyptian Senate Committee on Financial, Economic and Investment Affairs, Senator Ahmed Abu Hashima. The stage is yours.
14 حطوا لنا 14. تحياتي للجميع. طبعا اليوم
we have a tight schedule and we will be talking quickly. We would like to welcome an international guest, being in addition to being a member in the Egyptian Senate Committee on Financial, Economic and Investment Affairs. He is also a public figure with a great presence in the Arab, Egyptian and international spheres. MP Ahmed Abu Hashima. Let's cut to the chase, although this is a tough subject, but let's try to simplify it. From your personal experience, how can we transform the economic relationship between Egypt to UAE and the UAE from trade into manufacturing? The UAE-Egyptian relationship is always growing rapidly, and the trade exchange between Egypt and the UAE in 2025 increased by 70%. It became $9.2 billion in volume. The United Arab Emirates is the largest foreign investor in Egypt, investing in several diversified sectors. So you mean 9.2 billion is both sides. Egypt exports more, but it doesn't mean that the relationship is growing, and there was a 70% increase in trade volumes. When we talk about industry, let me tell you about my personal experience, because it's unique in the industrial partnership between UAE and Egypt. The first one is the NIFI company, and if you know me, I've always been working in heavy industries, intense energy sectors. After 2023, I turned into different sectors. I always see myself as an industrialist, but I saw that the difference between our imports and exports is $30 to $35 billion. So we tried to study what Egypt is producing and exporting. We found out that it's one of the major producers of vegetables and fruits, and specifically oranges, for example. This is thanks to our political leadership. From 2014 until now, the agricultural spaces increased by 4 million acres. We want to increase raw materials and turn them into dollars and increase our exports. And I work in greenfield projects. I presented this to partners in the UAE, and they agreed after conducting the studies. I found all the facilities, funding by FAB here in Abu Dhabi, who agreed to fund me. I asked for a special free zone in Egypt. They said, okay, but you have to export 100% of the products. So now equity from me and my UAE partners, funding is from UAE. We manufacture, we are in the AI capital of the world in the UAE. So everything is very high tech and reflects the industry 04 with robotics and everything. Our aim is to manufacture 103 unique products over the coming months. This is a partnership that will increase production that also does not burden the banking sector in Egypt. So it's a real partnership. Also, Blue 5 is one of our partners. It invests 10,000 hectares in Egypt in order to provide us with raw materials and to become a real hub that produces B2B and become a B2C in Kizad, for example, to become a hub for Gulf countries and East Asia. This is not our ultimate goal because my partners and I will be heading towards any place that has agricultural or arable lands with rainfall, and the 5 factories that we have are unique. They are nowhere else in the world. Also, we have Autumn Solar, which produces solar panels and solar cells and batteries. And I would like to thank Dr. Sultan Al Jaber for 2 reasons. The first is that Dr. Sultan was the reason of this project, and he told me about this idea. So it was his suggestion. Yes, he suggested the idea and introduced me to Ali Al-Shamri, CEO of a very experienced company in the renewable energy field, working in the global south. So there was a real UAE-Egyptian partnership. Who are our suppliers? He brought the 3 major companies, including JA Solar, which produces almost 90 giga. We wanted to produce 5 giga. I went with Ali and asked him for another request. I told him that we need these people to be our partners, and this partnership means that the technology changes every few months. I don't want to build a factory that has obsolete technologies in a few months. So in order to convince Chinese investors, it was very difficult, but he managed to convince him. And the Chinese people are very difficult to work with. We've been working with them for a year, and our factory is now in Al Sukhna, and I believe Egypt is going to be a hub. Everyone who works in the industrial sector knows that the Chinese are very difficult people to negotiate with. But I believe Egypt will be a hub for this solar energy sector, especially that Egypt's strategy 2030 is to have 42% of our electrical consumption coming from solar energy. We will be exporting, and we have offtake agreements already signed. We will be producing 2 giga in the first phase. A lot of questions and a very short time, but let's ask about the location and the infrastructure. To what extent do they play a role in your strategic decision to invest? For example, linking Kizat with the east of Port Said. Kizad is one of the major industrial and logistic zones in the Middle East. It's an industrial zone with infrastructure linked to Khalifa Port. Has a lot of expertise. It's now linking Asia, Europe, and Africa. So when you have the most important or the best location in the Mediterranean, which is East Port Said, and linking them with Kizad, it will be a genius link, because all these expertise will be linked to East Port Said. This is where a ship takes 2 to 3 days to Europe, but it takes 20 to 30 days from East Asia. So this is the genius idea, and the UAE-Egyptian partnership, the great expertise in Abu Dhabi ports and Kizad as an industrial zone with the Egyptian infrastructure in East Port Said. Now we are talking about strategic thinking completely outside the box. You are an investor, you have capital. If you have a clear demand, to what extent could this change your decision to enter a certain sector? An industrial investor doesn't have money. Your money will always be in the market. Because industry is something really difficult, so I don't have the money actually. But having a clear demand is always important for any industrial investor. They have to study the market to decide. And the UAE has given us a hard time. How so? There is something new every day, not every week, not every month. There is something new every day. Yesterday, there was the Make It with ADNOC forum. They tell people to build the factory because they have off-takers for 2 or 3 years to come. So you create the factory and I will be buying the product. And this clarity of demand is not something that makes you wonder if you will invest or not. It will make you ask yourself, how much am I going to invest? The figures in the UAE. The UAE is always speaking the language of numbers. I learned that numbers is the language that you have to use in order to provide evidence. And this is what happens in the UAE. Speaking about investment, what's your opinion on the best investment sectors in the industry? After the current crisis that we see, there are 3 very important sectors for every investor. The energy security, and right now it's not just the oil and gas energy, because this is the traditional source of energy. I'm talking about new and renewable and clean energies such as wind and solar and the green hydrogen energies. Manufacturing the components for these energies, just like atom solar. Also, localization of industries and technology transfer is important. Last year, there was almost $2 trillion worth of investments in this business. The second one is water security. The Arab region is one of the most scarce regions in terms of water, and the technologies for water desalination and everything related to water recycle and reuse is something where we have to focus on localizing and technology transfer. After the COVID crisis and the Ukrainian crisis, supply chains became a very difficult topic. But the United Arab Emirates is a desert country. It's not an agricultural country by nature. However, the volume of food in the market is 37 billion. They have strategic storage and stock. They always have new technologies for smart agriculture. So food security has become a very important sector to work in addition to strategic sectors such as steel and aluminum and military industries that are already existing, but the 3 I mentioned are really important. You have a talent for numbers. How do you remember the numbers? This is part of our expertise because we have to calculate everything. Today we are in Abu Dhabi. What makes the UAE different in terms of industrial attraction or attracting investment anywhere? It's about the vision and the political will. And I would like to say that the United Arab Emirates is very lucky with His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed. We are also very lucky, and everyone who's in the United Arab Emirates. I'm not talking about the citizens. I'm talking about citizens and residents. Everyone who's in the UAE is an Emirati. Yes, when he talks about economy, he talks about investing in two aspects. The first one is investing in humans, and the Emirati people who are well educated are the actual added value. He's always talking about future. He's talking about a future vision for 50 and even 100 years. So this foresight is implemented in the UAE strictly. The AI should be 14% of the total GDP of the UAE in 2030. UAE is not using AI, it's manufacturing and producing AI. And as an Arab, I am very proud of this. And as an Egyptian specifically, I am very proud. 20 years ago, we were all talking about Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea. But now, when we see this actual experience that has all advantages of these experiences called the Emirati experience, we have to commend them and say bravo for this amazing experience. And we have to congratulate the president because nothing would have been achieved without this political will. I know what the political will did in Egypt. We have a lot of issues and serious problems. You cannot probably imagine the 120 million country, but despite all these crises, the president is determined to invest in infrastructure and spending in things that cannot be felt right now by the people, but they are very important. I know exactly what political will can achieve. I would like to congratulate the UAE and its people. You have the last word. You have a pen of the UAE and Egypt flags. What do you say? My friend Ali gave me this pin of the UAE and Egypt flags, and I always say that the UAE and Egypt relationship has been a strong one since the days of the late Sheikh Zayed. We have Sheikh Zayed. We have towns and cities named after Sheikh Zayed in several parts of Egypt, and this hasn't happened with any other personality. This relationship is growing day by day. There are 930,000 Egyptians here in the UAE. Emiratis come to Egypt and feel like they are in their second home. So it's a very distinguished relationship with the UAE. It has a special nature. Thank you so much, MP Mr. Ahmed Abu Hashima. Thank you, everyone.
Momentum Hall, we remind you that the conversations don't end here. They start in the halls. Every conversation you have is a step towards making it in the Emirates. I'm Roda Al-Sayegh, and it has been an absolute pleasure being your MC for the day. Shukran until we meet again. مع السلامة.